Okay, so this has been a very weird summer so far. Some movies have done quite well, others have done not so much, right? And it's kind of a weird place to be. Again, I like to talk about the idea of stretching things out. Kind of like Goatsy, but for Hollywood and not disgusting. Stretch these things out. You'll get a better shot at actually doing better, financially speaking. Or in the case of critics, who cares about what they say anymore, to be honest with you? Because critics don't mean anything in this world, and I think they know that. So they want to make sure that these studios know that they're not messing around, especially when you look at something like, Men in Black over here has got the 33% on Rotten Tomatoes with a general critical consensus saying, amiable yet forgettable. MIB International grinds its stars substantially chemistry through the gears of a franchise running low on reasons to continue. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with that assertion. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it this week, but ultimately, I've also kind of asked myself, what could they go, where could they go forward with the franchise? What could they do? And without Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith involved, it does feel like there's really nowhere for them to go. But I thought it'd be fun to take a look through what the critics are saying and to get an idea for whether or not this movie is going to be good or not. So again, with not getting a lot of love, I think the critical reception is going to be something here. So anyway, Justin Chang from the LA Times here says, the movie itself, a weightless, unmemorable summer distraction, offers its own curious meta variation on the joke. But what exactly is the joke, Justin? I don't know what the joke could be on this particular one. All I know is F. Gary Gray directed it, and that dude is a fantastic director. So if you're not liking the movie, I have a feeling audiences will, especially if they put up there from the director of Fast and Furious 8. That's going to be a pretty big one too. Now, Katie Walsh from the Tribune News Service says, has the energy of one of those breezy big summer movies of the late 20th century that went down easy like ice cold soda on a hot summer day. Some laughs, some action, very little thinking. And you know what? When she says that, here's my immediate thought, my immediate vision. You know where it takes me back? July 1996. I think it was like July 4th, around July 4th, early or first week. I remember riding my bike to the theater to go see Independence Day and wanting to see it. I was going on a camping trip right afterwards. That was like, I was going to go and have a good time and watch this movie. Saw the first day, first showing, and that movie, fantastic. 20 some odd years later, still fantastic. Why? Because it is the epitome of a summer blockbuster where you get some laughs, some action, very little thinking. Godzilla, King of the Monsters is very similar in its design. It's a lot of big, high spectacle action with very little thinking, but a lot of monster on monster stuff. So that's pretty good too. Now, anyway, Mick LaSalle here from the San Francisco Chronicle says, for about 10 minutes, the script and the actors have some of the breeziness and freedom of Thor Ragnarok. Then it all goes away. Now, that is kind of my biggest question in regards to this movie, is because we just saw 2 months ago, or 3 months ago almost, we just saw Endgame. So we saw Tessa Thompson, we saw Chris Hemsworth, them together as Thor and Valkyrie. It was not that long ago, less than 2 years ago, that we had Thor Ragnarok, and we had that whole chemistry with them there. Coming off of Endgame, is that impacting this movie? Is this movie releasing too close to Endgame, that people are just thinking about it being Thor and Valkyrie instead of being Agents L and Agent M? Right? I mean, that is a valid question. And I think, honestly, that is a problem. That is a problem. I think it also applies to the same logic behind X-Men Dark Phoenix. They have no plans to push forward X-Men Dark Phoenix any further, or any X-Men movies for a while, because of what happened with Dark Phoenix and them wanting to get away from it and them wanting to do, to let it kind of die down. I think this movie would have probably would have been seen as being better if it came out towards the end of the year or in a bit of an off month, simply because of the connection the two stars have to each other. Now, Scott Craven from Arizona Republic here says, if you insist on seeing MIB International, do yourself a favor and zap yourself with an official MIB neuralizer, erasing all memories of previous films and the franchise. So I'm guessing it plays off a bit of those older jokes. I don't get it, scat. I don't understand it, scat. I mean, would you like, because the way he makes it look here is it's just like, don't like zap yourself before going in. I mean, I don't know. MIB 3 wasn't very good, so I could easily see doing away with that one. Katie Wright from AV Club says, like a UFO hovering in the night sky, one moment it's there and the next it's gone. And that could be studio interference. That could be Tom Rothman and people at Sony coming in and trying to go, no, we need to make this thing hip and fun and fresh and action packed. Honestly, I think a big problem is going to come from it is Kamal Nanjiani. I forget his name. That guy, you know who I'm talking about. And the reason why is because he plays the same character in everything that he does. And showing the alien and teaming up with one of the aliens this time around feels very similar to what we saw with Bobby Monahan in MIB 3. And it just doesn't really work. I don't want it to be about them teaming up with the aliens, even though they did those weird like roach tick creatures from the second movie where they kind of joined in on the action at the end. That I'm okay with because they were just there. You know, they were like, cigarettes and coffee and whatnot back in the 90s when you could actually show smoking on screen. And that was interesting to me. But focusing on an alien here that kind of fawns over Tessa Thompson's character just feels like a marketing push and not something that's beneficial to the story. Now, anyway, it says here, the actors would both make very nice Airbnb hosts, but you can't hang an action comedy on dreamy smiles, coming from Johnny Olakinski from the New York Post, giving it a 1 out of 4. And that's not good one there. But the thing is, they have chemistry. So that's a little bit weird. They have chemistry on that particular front. So that's what I don't quite get. They have, from Thor Ragnarok and Endgame, there's clearly chemistry between the two of them. So what happened with this movie that was a problem? Now, I kind of think Sony realized this because I talked to one of my guys last night and I asked him, hey, did you go see Men in Black International yet? Because the movie opens up and it's like the press screenings are happening, social media stuff. There's been nothing. And he's like, no, they actually canceled some of the screenings. So they are trying to limit this movie from being seen by a lot of critics, even though right now we got 33% with 75 total reviews having seen it. And those are the critics who probably live in the LA and New York areas. So it's one of those interesting factors where you can tell Sony probably realizes that this movie is not going to do as well as they want. And they're probably hedging all of their bets on Spider-Man, which is why the marketing push for Spider-Man is so high. That was one of the biggest problems with Men in Black International. Where was the marketing? Yeah, there were trailers, but where was the marketing? And it might have been, and this is going to be an odd thing here. It might actually have been Liam Neeson, which is the problem here. Because notice none of those reviews mention Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson had his controversy a couple months ago, which a lot of people are asking the question, is this going to in fact push back against Men in Black International? Are they going to try to cut him out of the movie? Are they going to replace him with Christopher Plummer? Those were questions that were asked. No, they chose not to because the controversy kind of went down. But 2012, Sony released a movie called The Watch. It was originally called Neighborhood Watch, but it ended up getting changed after the whole George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin situation. And because of the change in marketing, because of how they chose to market it out to the people, and it was a very funny movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I don't blame you because Sony didn't tell you it was coming out. They completely took a bath on that film, setting back, I think, Akiva Schaffer's directing jobs for quite some time as a result of this, and even though it wasn't his fault, and you should check it out. And I think that might be what's happening here is they are maybe not pushing it because of the whole Liam Neeson thing. They don't want to invite more controversy. They don't want to invite those negative headlines. So as a result, they just released the film. Now you could be arguing back and say, but Matt, if the movie was good, wouldn't the critics acknowledge that it was good? To which case I respond back with, when do critics ever like anything? Right? Didn't the critics kind of crap on Alita? The critics liked The Last Jedi. They really liked Captain Marvel. They didn't like Godzilla. They hated Dark Phoenix. Can you trust them all the time? The answer to that is no. Can you trust me all the time? The answer to that is no. We all have our opinions. It's up to you to determine it for yourself and then make that call. I plan on seeing Men in Black International. For 1, I've been a longtime fan of the franchise. 2, I like Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson together. 3, F. Gary Gray is amazing, and I will back that dude in whatever he does. He's been one of my favorites for decades now, and I really, really, really love his work. And I'm excited to see that he's come out to be getting these kind of films, and I want to go and support it. And I also like Men in Black just as a whole. So that's why I'm going to go see it. 33% actually tells me the movie's going to be far better than critics are making it out to be. But I want your thoughts, your opinions on this one. What do you think? What do you feel? Do you think it's going to be good? Think it's going to be bad? I want to hear your thoughts. You can either hit me up in the comment section below or blast me on Twitter. I'm up there. And I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day and peace out.